Asher abete perro begerto, yeta perro begelo que comin. Bacarnish beaderto, yish beabegelo que comin. Genesh hacho katarota arushanoto.
Shalom, shalom. This is Moreh Raya, Moreh Ari, and today's Parsha will be Numbers chapter 30 through Numbers chapter 30 through verse 1 through 32, verse 40, and the half Torah will be Jeremiah chapter 1 through chapter 2, verse 3. All right, and today's Parsha is Parsha 42, Mattot. All right, Parsha Mattot. Okay. And before we get started, we'll say the Shema. We'll say the Shema, Deuteronomy 6, 4 through 9. Okay, we'll say it in Hebrew. Shema Yisrael, Yudei Wahe Elachenu, Yudei Wahe Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Matu Elam Va'et. Vahavda Et Yudei Wahe Elahaka Bofku Laboka Oboko Nafaska Oboko Modeka. Vahayu Hadeverim Hale Asher Nuki. Mazoka Hayam Alaveka, Veshanantam Labaneka, Wedabata Baam, Beshibka, Bebaveka, Udoreka, Verek, Ushabeka, Ukameka, Uksatam Leot Yadika, Vahayu Letota foot being the ka. Alright. Uktatam Abzuzut Bieka Uvesh Oreka. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh, our supreme one, Yahweh is Echad, is one. Benevolent is the name of his esteemed kingdom forever. And you shall love Yahweh your power with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength. And these words I command you today shall be in your heart. And you shall teach them diligently to your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit at home, and when you walk along the way, and when you go to sleep, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorposts of your homes and on your gates. Right? On your gates. So, Wabesh Ureka. Wabesh Ureka. So you're supposed to write them on your gates as well. Alright, so Numbers chapter 30. And we're going to start at verse 1. And Moses spoke to the heads of the tribes concerning the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which Yahweh has commanded. If a man vow a vow to Yahweh, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. And if you go and watch the video with that I uploaded earlier with Moreh breaks it down verses 1 through verses 17. All right, and we break it down about the vow, and we go into the Hebrew grammar and that. So go watch that video. It's about 3 hours long, and we go into depth about it. All right, so we're not going to go into depth about it here, but we go into depth about it then, so go watch that video. All right, so it says, he shall do all according that proceeds out of his mouth. Okay, so all vows in the Most High's name are binding and must be fulfilled, so you must fulfill them. If you say it, you must fulfill it. Verse 3, if a woman also vow a vow to Yahweh and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house in her youth, and her father hears her vow and her bond wherewith she has bound her soul, and her father shall hold his shalom at her, then all her vows shall stand, every bond wherewith she shall bound her soul shall stand. But if her father disallow her in the day that he hears not any of her vows, or of her bonds wherewith she has bound her soul shall stand, and Yahweh shall forgive her, because her father disallowed her vow. So if a woman makes a vow and the father hears it, he can annul it, or he can leave it be. It's up to him. It's not up to the woman. It's up to him. And if she had at all a husband when she vowed or uttered anything out of her lips wherewith she bound her soul, and her husband heard it and held his peace at her in the day that he heard it, then her vow shall stand, and her bonds wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. So if a husband, he has the arbitrary authority, he has the ultimate authority to annul a vow made by his wife upon hearing it. So if he don't like it, then he can annul it, no matter how you feel about it. No matter if you're getting your feelings, cry, this and that. If he don't like it, don't want it to go through, he can annul it, and the Most High will disavow it. All right. Verse 8. But if her husband disallowed her on the day that he heard it, then he shall make her vow which she vowed, and that which she uttered with her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, in none effect, and Yahweh shall forgive her. But every vow of a widow and of her that is divorced, wherewith they have bound their soul, shall stand against her. And if she vowed at her husband's house, or bound her soul by a bond with an oath, and her husband heard it, and held his peace at her, and disallowed her not, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. But if her husband has utterly made them void on the day he heard them, then whatsoever proceeded out of her lips concerning her vows or concerning the bond of her soul shall not stand. Her husband has made them void, and Yahweh shall forgive her. Every vow and every binding oath to afflict the soul, her husband may establish it, or her husband may make it void. But if her husband altogether hold his peace at her from day to day, then he establishes all her vows and all her bonds which are upon her. He confirms them, because he held her shalom at her in the day that he heard them. But if he shall in any way make them void after that he has heard them, then he shall bear her sin, or her iniquity. This is the statute which Yahweh commanded Moses between a man and his wife, between a father and his daughter, and being yet in her youth at her father's house. Alright, so now we're going to go to chapter 31. And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Avenge the children of Israel of the Midianites, afterwards shall you be gathered to your people. So he told Moses to avenge the Midianites, and afterwards you're going to be gathered to your people. So afterwards you're going to die. And Moses spoke to the people, saying, Arm some of yourselves to the war, and let them go against the Midianites to avenge Yahweh of Midian. And of every tribe 1,000, of every tribe 1,000 throughout all the tribes of Israel shall you send to the war. So there were given out of the thousands of Israel 1,000 of every tribe, 12,000 armed for war. And Moses sent them to the war, 1,000 of every tribe, them and Phinehas, the son of Eleazar the Kohen, Eleazar the priest, to the war, with the set apart instruments and the shopharim to blow in his hand. And they warred against the Midianites as Yahweh commanded Moses, and they slew all the males. So they killed all the males. Alright, so nothing's left but women. And they slew all the sovereigns, which is kings of Midian, besides the rest of them that were slain, namely Evi and Rechem, and Zur and Chur, and Reba, 5 kings of Midian. Balaam also the son of Beor they slew with the sword. So they also killed Balaam too. The reason why they killed Balaam was because he came to collect the reward for the 24,000 Israelites he caused to die. These were victims of the lechery of Balaam and his scheme to cause Israel to whore with the foreign Jordanian women. So the Moabite women, that Balaam taught them how to confound them and told them to go and have sex with the Israelite men and women to integrate themselves with that. And that's how you would confound them. And so for that, he had to die. And so you see in verse 8, they killed him with the sword as well. So verse 9, and the children of Israel took all the women of Midian captives and their little ones, and took the spoil of all their cattle and all their flocks and all their goods. So they took the women captive and took all the cattle and everything that was precious and good. And they burnt all their cities wherein they lived, and all the goodly castles with fire. So they burnt all the cities and castles with fire. And they took all the spoil and all the prey, both men and of beasts. And they brought the captives and the prey and the spoil to Moses and Eleazar the priest, and to the congregation of the children of Israel, to the camp at the plains of Moab, which are by Jordan, near Jericho. And Moses and Eleazar the priest and all the princes of the congregation went forth to meet them outside the camp. And Moses was very angry with the officers of the host, with the captains over thousands and captains over hundreds, which came from the battle. And Moses said to them, Have you rescued all the women alive? Behold, these women caused the children of Israel through their counsel of Balaam to commit trespass against Yahweh in the matter of Peor. And there was a plague among the congregation of Israel. So Moses wanted you to kill the women too, because women, is like I just said, they caused them to sin, caused Israel to sin and be out Peor. And on the advice of Balaam, that's why they killed Balaam. Verse 17. Now therefore kill every man among the little ones, kill all the males, children, males and male children, and kill every woman that has had sex, that has known men. Right. So these women. So why did he say kill all the women that's been lying with that has known men or had sex with before? These women had been defiled by worshiping false gods and would lead Israel and others astray. The adulterers in Israel were killed, and these Midianite women were partners in that adultery, so they got to be put to death too. Now, according to the Torah law, both male and female must die. This is why these women had to be killed, and the kids were the product of that adultery. The kids also would have grown up to do the same, and in their death they would only go back to Yahweh, who would not send the children to hell. The virgin women were given a chance since they could be married and brought into the contract of Yahweh. So that's why, Yahweh's ways is not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. So a lot of times, a lot of y'all women, y'all don't be understanding. So y'all think that when somebody is showing you things and showing you how the Most High really is, as opposed to what your belief is, then you get upset and things like that. But it is what it is. All right. So where were we at? Verse 19. And you abode yourselves outside the camp 7 days. Whosoever has killed any person, and whosoever has touched any slain, any dead body, purify both yourselves and your captives on the 3rd day and on the 7th day. So on the 3rd and the 7th day, they had to purify themselves and the captive women that were virgins that they kept alive. All right, so the 3rd and 7th day, they had to take a ritual mikvah, which was take a bath of purification. And purify all your raiment, all your clothes, and all that is made of skins, and all work of goat's hair, and all things made of wood. So anything they had to purify. And Eleazar the priest said to the men of war which went to the battle, this is the ordinance of the Torah which Yahweh commanded Moses. Only the gold and the silver, the brass, the iron, the tin, and the lead. Everything that may abide the fire. So everything that can withstand the fire, you shall make it go through the fire, and it shall be clean. Nevertheless, it shall be purified with the water of separation. And all abides that not the fire, you shall make to go through the mayim, the water. So anything that can withstand the fire, you clean it with fire, and it will purify it. Anything that doesn't, then you clean it with water. And you shall wash your clothes on the 7th day, and you shall be clean. And afterward you shall come into the camp. So on the 7th day they wash their clothes, right? And then they'll be clean entirely, and then they can come back into the camp. And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, take the sum of the plunder that was captured, both of man and of beast, you and Eleazar the priest, and the chief avot, the chief fathers of the congregation, and divide the prey into 2 parts, between them that took the war upon them who went out to battle, and between all the congregation. So he divided all the spoil into 2 parts, and one half went to the people, the men that went to war, and the other half went to the people that stayed there. Verse 28, and levy a tribute to Yahweh of the men of war, which went out to battle, 1 soul of 500, both of the persons and of the cattle, and of the asses and of the sheep. So the men that went to war, they had to pay tribute to the Most High for giving them the spoils of that war. Okay. Verse 29. Take it to their half and give it to Eleazar the Kohen for a heave offering to Yahweh. And all the children of Israel's half, you shall take 1 portion of the 50 of the persons, of the cattle, of the asses, and of the flocks, and of manner of beasts, and give them to the Levites which keep the charge of the tent. So 1/10 so 1 portion of the 50 of everything that the children of Israel had that did not go to war, that they had to take it and give it to the Levites. Okay. And Moses and Eleazar the priest did as Yahweh commanded Moses. And the spoils of war, being the rest of the plunder which the men of war had caught, was 600,000 and 75,000 sheep, and 72,000 cattle, 61,000 asses, donkeys, and 32,000 people. So 32,000 people in all, of women who had not known man by land with man. So it was only 32,000 women that were virgins. So they got to separate those virgins as well. They separate those virgins, and they spread them around amongst the congregation and amongst the men of war. And then the people of the congregation gave 1/50 of the virgin women to the Levites, and then the people then with the war they gave what 1/10 of what they had as tribute to Yahweh. So it knows no. It doesn't say what they did. It doesn't say if they got killed or whatnot. If they just became servants in the house of Yahweh or what. It doesn't say. All right, and verse 36, and the half which was the portion of them that went out to war was 337,500 sheep, and Yahweh's tribute of the sheep was 675, and the cattle were 36,000, of which Yahweh's tribute was 72, and the asses were 32,500, of which Yahweh's tribute was 61, and of the virgins, which says of the persons of the people, was 16,000, of which Yahweh's tribute was 32 people. So the Most High got 32 of the virgins that the others had. Verse 41. And Moses gave the tribute, which was Yahweh's contribution offering, to Eleazar the priest. And Yahweh commanded Moshe and the children of Israel have, which Moses divided from the men that warred. Now the half that pertained to the congregation was 300,000, 37,500 sheep, and 36,000 cattle, and 36,500 donkeys, 16,000 people. Even of the children of Israel's half, Moses took one portion of 50, both man and of beasts, and gave them to the Levites, which kept the charge of the tent of Yahweh, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And of the officers who were over thousands of the host, the captains of thousands and captains of hundreds came near to Moses, and they said to Moses, your servants have taken the sum of the men of war, which are under our charge, and there lacks not one man of us. We have therefore brought an offering to Yahweh. What each man has received of jewels and gold, chains and bracelets, rings and earrings, and tablets, to make atonement for our souls before Yahweh. And Moses and Eleazar the priest took the gold of them, even all wrought jewels, and all the gold of the offering that they offered up to Yahweh, of the captains of thousands and of the captains of hosts, and was 16,750 shekels. For the men of war had taken spoil, every man for himself. And Moses and Eleazar the priest took the gold of the captains of thousands and of hundreds, and brought it into the tent of the appointed times for a memorial for the children of Israel before Yahweh. All right, now we're going to move on to chapter 32. All right, and we're going to stop at verse 40, and then we'll go to Jeremiah. Now the children of Reuben and the children of Gad had very great multitude of cattle. And when they saw the land of Yetzir and the land of Gilead, they beheld the place was a place for cattle. And the children of Gad and the children of Reuben came and spoke to Moses and to Eleazar the priest and to the princes of the congregation, saying, Adaroth and Dibon and Yetzir and Nimrah and Heshbon and Eleale and Shebam and Nebo and Beon. Even the country which Yahweh smote before the congregation of Israel is a land for cattle, and your servants have cattle. Wherefore said they, if we have found favor in your sight, let this land be given to your servants for a possession, and bring us not over the Jordan. And Moses said to the children of Gad and to the children of Reuben, would your brethren go to war, and you shall sit here? And why do you discourage the heart of the children of Israel from going over the land which Yahweh has given them? Thus did your fathers when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. For when they went up to the valley of Eshcol and saw the land, they discouraged the heart of the children of Israel, that they should not go into the land which Yahweh had given them. And Yahweh's anger was kindled the same time, and he swore, saying, surely none of the men that came up out of Egypt from 20 years old and upward shall see the land which I swore to Abraham, to Yitzhak, and to Jacob, because they have not fully followed me, except Caleb the son of Yephaniah the Kenizzite, and Yehoshua the son of Nun, for they have fully followed Yahweh. And Yahweh's anger was kindled against Israel, and he made them wander in the wilderness 40 years, until the generation that had done evil in the sight of Yahweh was consumed. And behold, you are risen up in your fathers instead, a brood for transgression, to ignite the fierce anger of Yahweh toward Israel again. For if you turn away from after him, he will yet again leave them in the wilderness, and you shall destroy all this people. And they came near to him and said, we will build sheepfolds here for our cattle, and cities for our little ones. But we ourselves will go ready armed before the children of Israel until we have brought them to their place, and our little ones shall dwell in the fenced cities because of the inhabitants of the land. We will not return to our houses until the children of Israel have inherited every man his inheritance. For we will not inherit with them on the other side of Jordan, or forward, because our inheritance is fallen to us on this side of the Jordan, eastward. And Moses said to them, if you will do this thing, if you will go armed before Yahweh to war, and you will go all of you armed before over the Jordan before Yahweh until he has driven out his enemies from before him, and the land be subdued before Yahweh, and then afterward you shall return and be guiltless before Yahweh and before Israel, and this land shall be your possession before Yahweh. But if you will not do so, behold, you have transgressed against Yahweh, and be sure your transgression will find you out. Behold, your cities are for your cities for your little ones, and folds for your sheep, and do that which has proceeded out of your mouth. And the children of Gad and the children of Reuben spoke to Moses, saying, your servants will do as my master commands. Our little ones, our wives, our flocks, and all our cattle shall be there in the cities of Gilead. But your servants will pass over every man armed for war before Yahweh to battle, as my master says. So concerning them, Moses commanded Eleazar the priest and Yehoshua son of Nun, and the chief fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel. And Moses said to them, if the children of Gad and the children of Reuben will pass with you over Jordan, every man armed to battle before Yahweh, and the land shall be subdued before you, then you shall give them the land of Gilead for a possession. But if they will not pass over with you armed, they shall have possessions among you in the land of Canaan. And the children of Gad and the children of Reuben answered, saying, as Yahweh has said to your servants, so will we do. We will pass over armed before Yahweh in the land of Canaan, that the possession of our inheritance on this side of Jordan may be ours. And Moses gave to them, even to the children of Gad and to the children of Reuben, and to half of the tribe of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, the kingdom of Sihon, king of the Amorite, and the kingdom of Og, kingdom of Bashan, the land and the cities there in the coast, even the cities of the country round about. And the children of Gad built Dibon, Adaroth, and Aror, and Athroth, and Shaphan, and Yaezer, and Yogbahah, and Beth Nimrah, and Beth Haran, fenced cities and folds for sheep. And the children of Reuben built Heshbon, and Elileh, and Kiriathaim, and Nebo, and Baal Meon, their names being changed, and Sibmah, and gave their names to the cities which they built. And the children of Machir, the son of Manasseh, went to Gilead and took it, and dispossessed the Amorite which was in it. And Moses gave Gilead to Machir, the son of Manasseh, and he dwelt therein. Alright, so now we will go to Jeremiah chapter 1, and we'll read chapter 1. So for now, it's time for the Naveen. That was the Torah Parsha. Have Torah Parsha, and now we go to the prophets, the Navaim. Yirmiyah, chapter 1, and verse 1. The words of Yirmiyah, Jeremiah, the son of Hilkiah, of the Kohanim that were in Anathoth in the land of Ben-Ammi, to whom the word of Yah came in the days of Josiah, the son of Amnon, king of Yehudah, in the 13th year of his reign. It came also in the days of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, at the end of the 11th year of Zedekiah, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, to the carrying away of Jerusalem captive in the 5th month. The word of Yahweh came to me, saying, before I formed you in the belly, I knew you, and before you came forth out of the womb, I set you apart, and I appointed you a prophet to the nations. Then said I, Master Yahweh, behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child. But Yahweh said to me, say not, I am a child, for you shall go to all that I shall send you, and whatsoever I command you, you shall speak. Be not afraid of their faces, for I am with you to rescue you, says Yahweh. Then Yahweh put forth his hand and touched his mouth, and Yahweh said to me, behold, I have put my words in your mouth. See, I have set forth this day for you over the nations and over the kingdoms, to root out and to pull down and to destroy and to throw down, to build and to plant. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Jeremiah, what do you see? And I said, I see a rod of an almond tree. Right? And so that almond tree is the drash of the tree of life. You know what I'm saying? The drash understanding of the tree of life. Verse 12. Then said Yahweh to me, you have seen well, for I will hasten my word to perform it. And the word of Yah came to me the second time, saying, what do you see? And I said, I see a boiling pot, and the face of it is the face of the north. Right? And that was the Babylonians, Nebuchadnezzar them. Then Yahweh said to me, out of the north an evil shall break forth upon all the inhabitants of the land. Right? And so also too, it's also showing you some other things in the modern day times as well. So out of the north, the future prophecy of from my understanding of the Muslims coming to fight up against Jerusalem. When the Jerusalem is at peace, they will be coming from the north as well. All right. Verse 15. For behold, I will call all the families of the kingdoms of the north, says Yahweh, and they shall come, and they shall set their throne at the entrance of the gates of Jerusalem, and against all the walls round about it, and against all the cities of Judah. And if you notice, most of the kings, the families of the north, most of them are Muslims. Even when you go into the Balkans, and Serbia, and etc., it's all Muslims. And Persia, Muslims, so etc. Verse 16. And I will speak my judgments against them concerning all their wickedness, which have forsaken me, and have burned incense to other powers, and have bowed down to the works of their own hands. You therefore gird up your loins, and arise, and speak to them all that I command you. Be not dismayed at their faces, lest I confound you before them. For behold, I have made you this day a walled city, and a iron pillar, and brazen walls against the whole land, against the kings of Yehuda, against the princes of there, against the priests of there, and against the people of the land. And they shall fight against you, but they shall not prevail against you, for I am with you, says Yahweh, to rescue you. Chapter 2, verse 1. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Go and cry in the ears of Jerusalem, saying, Thus says Yahweh, I remember you, the kindness of your youth, the love of your espousals when you went after me in the wilderness, and in the land that was not sown. Israel was set apart to Yahweh, and the first fruits of his increase. All that devour him shall offend. Evil shall come upon them, says Yahweh. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. And that will be the end of today's Torah Parsha Mattot, Numbers 30 through Numbers 32 and verse 40, and then the half Torah of the Nevi'im, Jeremiah chapter 1 through chapter 2 verse 3. All right, and we'll start doing this a little bit more on Shabbat days. Most of the time I have the Shabbat with my teacher, and you can see they last pretty long, and we go into depth, so I kind of be meditating on that, and I don't be wanting to double back around, but we'll start doing this a little bit more. Maybe I'll do this a little bit earlier. Okay, so, but that is Mattot, and that is today's Torah Parsha for July the 11th, 2026. I hope that you was able to be edified, and until the next Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Lehitoro. Peace and blessings, family. Peace and blessings. Shalom, shalom.
Bakanish beyaderto, Yish beyabeloke kumin, Genesh hacho katarota arushanoto.